All the articles you have come to love in Equus magazine are now available in this podcast, Equus on Audio. Each article is released as its own separate episode to make them quick and easy to listen to. Search Equus on Audio to subscribe on your favorite podcast player, and you'll never miss an article.
You can enjoy your favorite equine videos all in one place with Ride TV, the ultimate equine streaming platform. The newly relaunched Ride TV has all the series you love, like mini horses and ridiculous ranches, plus top-tier training videos and event footage from Horse and Rider On Demand and barrelracing.com. Live the action, learn from the pros, love the stories. Subscribe to Ride TV today for only $19.99 to see where your ride takes you. Visit ridetvgo.tv to subscribe.
This article by Christine Bear-Acat was posted on September 23, 2024, and is titled Behaviors That Indicate Lameness. Equine lameness can be difficult to detect, but a study from England confirms the reliability of a relatively new tool for identifying subtle signs of musculoskeletal pain in horses. Developed at the Animal Health Trust in Newmarket in 2018, the Ridden Horse Pain Ephogram, or RHP, is a compilation of 24 behaviors such as head tilting, tail swishing, and spontaneous changes of gait that have been proven to correlate with musculoskeletal pain. If a horse exhibits 8 or more of the behaviors, chances are good he is lame. Undiagnosed lameness has a far-reaching impact on the lives of horses and their riders, says Sudaisen Batarm, Ph.D. One of the reasons I was incentivized to develop RHPE was I had become so dispirited by seeing so many horses who clearly had pain-related problems that had been ignored for far too long, she explains. The horse, the rider, the training technique were being blamed over and over again. Coercive training techniques were being used. Longer whips, spurs, tighter nosebands, stronger bits were being employed. Moreover, veterinarians did not understand what they were looking at either if an enlightened owner sought advice, and there was no obvious lameness seen in hand. They were told that the horse had behavioral problems. The behaviors that had the strongest statistical correlation with lameness were ears being pinned back for 5 seconds or more, an intense stare for 5 seconds or more, and repeated stumbling or dragging of both hind toes. In early research, most of the behaviors on the RHPE were found to be 10 times more likely to be seen in lame horses, and they were eliminated by measures that relieved pain such as nerve blocks, which verified their association with discomfort. For the most recent study, researchers selected 60 horses considered sound by their owners. The average age of the horses was 11, and they were used in a variety of English disciplines. 11 were lesson horses at a riding school. At the beginning of the study period, the horses were examined by a physiotherapist for signs of back pain. A master saddle fitter then checked a fit of each horse's tack to determine if it could be a source of pain. Each horse was then ridden by his usual rider through a dressage-type test that included walking, trotting, cantering, and circling in both directions. An experienced veterinarian observed each ridden test and evaluated the horse for lameness, assigning a score on a 0 to 8 scale. The tests were also videotaped from 2 angles. Next, a second researcher, unfamiliar with each horse's lameness score, analyzed the videotapes, documenting any instances of the behaviors listed in the RHPE. Finally, a third researcher watched the videotapes and scored each rider's skill on a scale of 1 to 10. The combined data showed that the presence of 8 or more behaviors listed on the RHPE correlated with a lameness diagnosis by the veterinarian who observed the ridden test, confirming the findings of the earlier research. The behaviors that had the strongest statistical correlation with lameness were ears being pinned back for 5 seconds or more, an intense stare for 5 seconds or more, and repeated stumbling or dragging of both hind toes. The researchers also found that almost 3/4 of the horses, 73%, that were assumed to be sound by their owners actually had some degree of lameness. Dyson says this result isn't particularly surprising, given that many of the behaviors on the RHP are often dismissed as normal by riders. I've lost count of the times that clients have said to me, "He's always found it difficult to canter, that's normal for him," says Dyson. Or, "He's never been a very willing horse ever since I bought him." Or, "He always comes out a bit stiff." An even higher proportion, 82%, of the study's lesson horses were found to be lame by the researchers, who noted that this group also had the highest median RHPE scores. When I think back to my childhood and think of all the horses at my local riding school, where I spent all my spare hours, and how these horses behaved, I don't think this is a new phenomenon, says Dyson. One of the reasons that some of these horses are so safe for beginners is that they don't want to go quickly. They hold their backs stiffly to compensate for lameness and minimize their discomfort, making them easier to ride. With a bigger range of motion, they would be more difficult to ride. She adds that a few simple management changes could help keep lesson horses more comfortable. I'd like see better use of pain-relieving medications such as phenylbutazone, and more lessons on a mechanical horse to establish basic position and balance, so that beginner riders are better able to ride bigger moving, less lame horses, Dyson says, and more attention paid to better fitting saddles for horses and riders. Although not significant in this study, we have done another study ready for publication in which we found that tight tree points can affect the RHPE, as does the rider sitting on the back of the saddle versus the middle of the saddle. Overall, any horse who displays 8 or more RHP behaviors needs a full lameness workup, says Dyson, although, sadly, non-specialist veterinarians may currently not have the skills to investigate properly.